Hi, everyone. It's so great to be with you. I'm Gina Kottner. I'm the CEO of Athena Executive Services. Has today not just been amazing so far? I have never quite seen an online conference quite like this. Like, I actually have an experience of being in a conference and in a really awesome community today. So I just wanted to start off by acknowledging base and everybody behind the scenes. I'm pretty blown away. I will tell you, I live in Seattle. I'm out on the west coast of North America. So obviously, this whole event started at 6 a.m. my time. My EA, bless her, I think was actually up at 6 a.m. watching the very opening speaker, which is awesome. But there I was in bed with my phone, like in the dark, looking, going, oh, how's the summit going? Right? Flipping through my phone before I even got out of bed. So I just wanted to start by acknowledging what a great, great event. And here we go. So I'll tell you a little bit about me, since I think I'm a lesser known entity on the docket today. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and how our firm came to be, which is really more of our story. So I was an EA for a CEO, okay, 7 or 8 years ago. And like many of you, I put on my pretty outfit, I got my nice little bag and my laptop, and I hopped on the bus and I went to work every day for this great CEO of this firm. And shortly after getting that job, 2 or 3 months into it, she sold the property that we were working at, the building or the rental or the lease came up on the property. And we all went home to work. So 7 or 8 years ago, there I was working from home as an EA for a CEO. And I loved it. I was like, this is great. Working from home, supporting my CEO. This is wonderful. And I did that for a few years. And that firm fizzled out. And at the same time, my father was passing. He was going to pass, it was foreseeable. And I thought I'd just take the opportunity to go have that sacred moment of life with my father. And I went to California and I spent the last chapter of his life with him. And then I went home and did whatever I wanted for 3 months, kind of just floated around in life. And then I thought, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready for another executive to support. And I started getting the word out in my community. I started kind of rustling the bushes and being like, who knows somebody? Who knows somebody who could use an EA for their C-suite person? I'm going to pause for a second here and just share my screen. Great. So this is our firm, high caliber part-time virtual executive assistants. But how we came to be, now back to my story, right? There I am rustling the bushes, looking for a C-suite person to support. And my good friend Tiffany says to me one day, she says, my CEO could use you. And I said, okay, well, introduce us. So she introduces me to a guy named Darren. And I become Darren's EA. And I go to his office maybe once a week, sift through the mail, but I'm mostly working from home because I'm loving this whole being an EA from home thing. A couple months later, Tiffany comes to me and she says, Gina, I'm going to need you. So I put you in my plans for Q2 for the second quarter, and I want you to be ready to come be my EA. And I said, Tiff, I'm not looking for more. My docket's full. I don't have any more bandwidth. And she said, okay, no problem. Just go find me somebody like you. And I said, oh, Tiffany, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And she said, yes, we'll find somebody. You coach them and we'll find somebody like you. Now, we had been friends. So I said, all right, we'll put our heads together. And we came up with this person that we both knew. And her name was Dorian. So that's me right there. And then we thought of our mutual friend, Dorian. And this is Dorian. Now, Dorian was maybe 24, 25 years old. So she was still early in her career, and she was still in her first company she really had worked for, right? She'd been working for the same company for 7 years. And I said, Tiffany, we cannot screw her life up, okay? So if we pluck her out of this nice, secure job she has, you have to be a great person to be an EA for, and I have to be a great coach. And she said, great, I'll do that. We'll do that. So we talked to Dorian, and Dorian agrees to be Tiffany's EA. And we're good. And there's me and there's Dorian, and we're working for the same company, and we're both being EAs, and I'm coaching Dorian, and she's being a rock star, and I'm being a rock star, and all is going well. And then a couple of months later, Tiffany says, Gina, got 2 directors in our company. They really could use some support. They really need an EA. They need to be stopped doing this work that is not the best use of their time, and we need to elevate them. Okay. And I said, Tiffany, no, I don't want to open this business. I've been an entrepreneur before. I don't want to. I don't want to. And she said, tough, get over yourself. Open this business. It's going to be great. You're going to be great at it. Now go find me somebody. So, so in the spring of 2016, I go and I find my old friend Allison. Allison's obviously not old. She's old as in I had known her for 15 years. Allison was an EA for a property manager, and she had a new son who's maybe 2 or 3 years old. And she said, oh my gosh, Gina, I would love to get to work from home and spend some more time with my son and have a more flexible schedule. And I'd love to work for you. And I said, okay, come along, come join Dorian and I at this company. So the 3 of us were supporting 4 or 5 executives in this one company. And then I finally went and opened up the actual company, and our very first payroll, I think, happened in May of 2016. So that's a little bit about where I came from and how I got here. And shortly after all that, maybe in the next year, I worked myself out of being the EA for the CEO, and I turned that over to Allison and started really running the operations of this company, of Athena. And now there's a gaggle of EAs on our team now, much like Dorian and Allison. Okay, so that's a little bit about how we came to life over here. So today, here's what I want to give you. I want to give you a little training and development on what I consider 2 of the trickiest traits of being an EA. Okay? 2 tricky skills to develop for being a high caliber EA. And I'll talk about one for a little bit, and then I'll ask you to chime in on the chat and say, and be willing to share, where are you challenged with this particular skill? What do you bump up against in having this particular skill for yourself? Okay. And hopefully we'll have a little back and forth about that. Okay. Because it just will make it a little more interactive. And if some of you are willing to share, just authentically, be a little transparent. I know you're sharing with strangers, except, we've been together all day. So maybe not so much strangers. I've seen you guys be super great and interactive with each other. And what'll be most valuable, I think, for everybody is when they can hear where somebody else is challenged with something, you'll realize you're representing 50 other people in the community that are challenged in the same way. And I think that's one of the real beauties of this community that BASE has set up here. And then I'll give you the second of the tricky traits, okay, tricky skills, and then we'll have a little discussion again. And then in the end, I will do general Q&A. So if you do have just sort of general overall questions, we'll get to that in the very end, okay? So I really encourage you to participate today. All right, let's get to work on mastering our craft, okay? So here's the first of what I would call the tricky traits. We've got 8 in my firm. I have 8 traits of being a high caliber EA. And that's what we consider our secret sauce. So the 2 I'm giving you today are 2 parts of our secret sauce. Let's put it that way. And the first one is what I call bringing the client certainty. Bringing certainty to your boss or your client, depending upon the kind of role that you have. Okay, so a high-performing EA brings certainty to their boss in the midst of the swirl, right? In the midst of the swirl that it is to be a busy executive, juggling many priorities and a variety of deliverables. And it's most likely that your boss would easily know what to do next with a particular project if they knew what the latest status was. If they knew that they had heard back from, say, 2 of the 3 people they were waiting to hear back from, they would automatically know the next step to take. So a great EA sorts through chaos, as you all know, and sorts through chaotic emails when needed to find the answer to, where are we at now with that? Have those people gotten back to me? often executives and business owners don't know where a particular project is at because it's not actually moving forward. Nobody has anything to report, so they're not reporting. So nobody's saying anything. You notice nobody ever sends an email that says, hey, nothing's happening here on our end. Just want you to know we have nothing to report. So sometimes there's radio silence in the midst of trying to drive a project forward. And a strong EA finds out the latest update and gives it to their boss, gives it to their client, and gives it to them straight. Even when the update is, there is no update. So that actually feeds power to a busy business person. Why? Because no update is an update. And once again, that leaves your boss now able to determine the next steps and what they want to do next, or what they might want to delegate, or how they want to move things forward. So if an executive asks a high performing EA for an update and they don't have one, what does that EA say? That EA says, I don't have an update for you, and I will by X time, right? I will by 4 p.m. today. I will by 9 a.m. tomorrow. They're bringing certainty. They won't fudge it. They won't take a good guess, and they won't wing it. They won't say something to make the situation sound better or sound rosier than it really is. Okay. They will bring something that is certain and factual to their boss. High caliber EAs really are masters of reporting just the facts without a lot of editorial comment or personal injection about it all. Okay, I'm going to pause there, okay, because it kind of created a world there for you. And I'd like to start to hear from people if you'd be willing to be brave and courageous. And so you can hear from each other, where are you challenged with bringing certainty when things just don't look certain? Or where do you get stopped with this? You know, where do you notice? And this is where you can kind of pull on your own personal development that you've done or your own emotional intelligence and look to see, like, where do I just try to make things sound a little better than they really are? Or do I get challenged with this? Or am I just really free to always bring certainty to a situation even when it doesn't look very certain? So let me pause there and just hear and see in the chat and see in the comments. What do you notice? Oh, I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen to be able to see what Liz feeds me here. Oh, I gotcha. All right. Now, I know this takes being a little courageous, like I said, to swing out and just really look at yourself and go, all right, well, what do I do when I don't like what I'm having to report? Or am I really free to just say to somebody, hey, I have nothing to report and here's what I'm going to find out? Yeah, it is really great. Thanks for saying that. You know, certainty is definitely something everybody wants, and it's easy to lose track of. So as a high caliber EA, we're always striving for that. Even if, again, the certainty is, I have nothing to report about that, or there's nothing new. If nothing new has happened on a project for 3 days, that's very telling for me. Nothing has happened? Okay, I got to go cause something to happen. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much for who said when it's your task that you haven't completed, those are the ones you don't want to share. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Of course, we've all been there, right? It's hard to be the one that goes, hi, that thing I said I'd do, and raise your hand and be really proactive. I didn't do that. Yeah. And in the next tricky trait we're going to talk about is going to speak to that a little bit more even. Thanks for being that authentic and that transparent there. So where do you get stopped with bringing certainty? Give everybody a minute to look there. Yeah. That's so great. Thanks for saying that. I don't want to throw someone else under the bus if they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah, it's really great. You can totally see where people would get stopped with that, right? We want to keep being the good guy all the time. Yeah, we always want it. We have kind of a propensity to want to not get in trouble with anybody and keep everybody happy. But some of our greatest value is that we are the truth tellers, right? We're not ratting on people, we're not being bad about people. But really, the truth is, you know, Joe got this done. We haven't heard back from Steve, and I don't know when we're going to hear back from Amir, and Sally's on vacation. That's what's going on, right? And the more we can just be factual about it, no judgment about these people. These are all great people that I'm working with, all great people on this project. But here's the facts that are going on about the performance of this project. And just look to see if we can separate that out while being really gracious, right? We're gracious professionals, but we're straight. That's really great. Thanks for calling one on yourself. When you said, I need to stop hazarding a guess to fill the silence and just say, I'll find out. Yes, 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 I will find out. I will let you know by 4 o'clock today. Now, the truth is, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to have anything new to say by 4 o'clock today. But then by 4 o'clock today, you could go back and say, I've taken the following actions. I'm now going to update you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Now you're authoring and commanding the ship of what's going on. I got what you said. Getting brushed off when updating. Yep. I think we've all been there. And thanks for saying it took me years to get comfortable saying I don't know. And then following that with, but I'll find out. Yeah, and I'll even give you a tiny little tweak there that might even give you a little more power. I don't know, and I'll find out. Right? That's part of your value is you are a finder outer. But yeah, for a lot of people, that's just a big step there, being willing to say those 3 words, I don't know. And I don't know is super useful. You should know as an executive, if my EA says, I don't know, that's useful for me to know that she doesn't know. It doesn't make her a bad EA. It's just the current status, the current state of affairs, the current state of the union is she doesn't know. Huh, okay, now what? Right? So if you're always ending with what's next, now again, you're back captaining the ship, you're driving the progress of something. All right, everybody who shared so far, thanks so much for that. That just hopefully other people could hear themselves in other people's sharing, which provides a lot of value. Okay, another aspect of being a high performing EA that I think is particularly tricky is managing expectations. Your bosses and everybody's around you might be expectations of your client. So I've noticed that assistants, we all tend to be people pleasers. People pleasers out there? Who are my people pleasers? Be proud. You can send a little heart up or a little thumbs up or what have you. You're the people that don't want people to be upset or frustrated, okay? It's not a bad trait to have. And it's upsetting and frustrating for you if somebody else gets upset or frustrated. Those are my people pleasers. And sometimes we can have a little too much attention on making sure somebody's not going to be upset, which then zaps or reduces your own power and effectiveness because you're a little twisted up, making sure everybody else isn't going to get upset. Well, meanwhile, we have upset EA over here. So a very professional and confident way of avoiding having people get upset is to manage expectations. This is one of your greatest weapons, one of your greatest tools in your tool belt. So what do I mean by that? First, just let me illustrate a little bit about the power of expectations in general. So let's say it's midnight and you're in the mood for a piece of cake from your favorite bakery. Do you just get in your car and drive to the bakery at midnight and then get upset and frustrated because they're not open? No. Why? Because you had no expectation that your favorite bakery would be open at midnight. You didn't just go driving up to this place and then look inside and be like, what? Why are they closed? Fire on them. You just didn't have an expectation about that. So where you have an expectation of something or somebody and that expectation goes unmet, you will often find yourself upset, frustrated, annoyed. Yeah. And if you just look in your own experience of life, it's probably naturally there. It's true for most of humanity. Unmet expectations make us a little crazy, mad, frustrated, upset. So knowing that and being wise about that, you can avoid people getting upset and frustrated by making sure you're always setting and resetting expectations. And as you can imagine, this process will also bring your executive certainty. So this helps the first situation we were talking about. It may not be good news, the expectation that you're resetting, but it will be certainty. And certainty and facts prevail over good news. Okay. And I can tell you, as an executive myself and as a business owner of a rapidly growing company, I would much rather have the truth and the certainty about something, even if I really hate what the truth is, even if I'm like, oh, it did not go the way I wanted. I'd rather that than for somebody to give me some half truth, hoping I won't be as upset. You know, when somebody gives me the straight scoop about something, I can then continue to captain my ship. I'm smart. I will figure out what to do next. That's how I got here. Okay. That's how I built a very successful company. So as long as somebody just gives it to me straight, I can figure out where to go next. It's not the first time things didn't go my way, right? And many times the straight scoop involves resetting expectations. And that might sound like, I said I'd have those 3 things done by Friday, but given the hot item that just came up this morning, those things are not going to get done till Monday. There's not even any need to apologize. It's not, oh, I'm so sorry, right? You don't need to like fall on your sword about it. This is the current weather report. It will be raining in an hour. It's kind of like that level of significance. X is not going to happen today. That's going to be happening on Monday. Now, that's the actual current real status right this moment. And if your boss or your client has an issue with that, they'll let you know. And they may have no issue with it at all. Oh, Monday? That's not going to get done until Monday. Ah, okay. And if they have an issue with it, then you guys will work it out, right? You'll reorganize the priorities, figure out what other resources might be needed. See, the 10 things that somebody gave you to do yesterday and then the 10 more the day before, they're not all going to get done by tomorrow. So you want to be the planner and the author of the expectations, right? You're the planner here. And when you reset expectations, it also ensures that I, as the executive, am not going to get blindsided. And there's just nothing worse than getting blindsided. I'm not going to be surprised that something didn't get done or it's not progressing in the way that I intended. And then if it is really important to me and you say, Gina, you know, this is just not going to be done on time or it's not going to be done until next week. Now I have the opportunity to do something about it. I can bring in more resources. I can redo the priority list. I can roll up my sleeves and get in there and get something done, right? I can delegate to somebody else. I have options to continue to captain my ship. Other great thing, this is really one of the greatest things about when you go and you muster the courage to reset expectations, then you're now not panicking about, oh my God, how am I going to get all this done? Right? You know, you can fight, flight, or freeze. You know, you like get frozen sometimes because there's so much work to do. It's like, where do I start? You want to stop and plan and reset expectations. Because in truth, you're not going to get it all done by tomorrow. So you got to stop and recalibrate and then tell people, here's the recalibrated plan. And when you've stopped, you've replanned, you've reset expectations, then you'll notice you get back to being a rock star. It's like literally you can breathe again. It moves your brain out of overwhelm mode and it gets you back to being effective, professional, and high performing, which is what we love, right? Gets you back in your zone, gets you back in the sweet spot. Okay, now again, I got a question for you, right? Similar question interaction as we did a little bit ago. Let's look and see, where can we tell the truth to each other? Where can we share here in community about where we get challenged with setting and resetting expectations? So again, an opportunity to just be brave, call one on yourself. Where do you get stopped with this? Where do you get stuck? It's not always easy. I know, boy, we'd rather just be like, maybe I just won't say anything and just work really hard and I'll be able to get it done. But that is so stressful on you. You already have a stressful job. You can de-stress a little bit by going back to your boss and saying, I recalibrated. Here's when these things are now going to actually get done. You know, I think we bump up against, of course, right? We always want to look good. We always want to come out looking rosy in a situation. But what I'd like you to discover is you can come out looking good and rosy and confident and professional by being strong enough to go to your boss and say, okay, I've replanned, I've recalibrated. Here's how this is going to go. What do you think? They might be like, great, thanks for doing that thinking. Or they might be like, 90% of that's good, but we got to go change these two things. Thanks, people. Thank you all for putting into the chat. It's really great. I love that you're challenged. When you get hand off a task and go back and forth instead of trying to keep going myself, like I always expect myself to get it done. Yeah. Yep, I get it. It is frustrating to be consistent with expectations when others aren't interested in complying. Yeah, you definitely bump up against that. Yeah, and if people really keep saying they're going to do X by Y date and they never do and they never do and they never do and they never do, okay, well, that's a performance issue, right? There's probably something to escalate there. And yes, you're right. Executives never understand how long it takes to do things. That's right. That's why they need you, the master caliber. We don't even remember the 3 things we delegated yesterday. We kind of don't even care because you guys are such rock stars, right? But that's why we need your brain to come back and be like, hey, Gina, listen, these 15 things you've given me in the last 2 days? I hope you're not thinking they're all getting done today. No, I'm not. I just want somebody to manage them getting done, right? Let me just keep reading these. When you reset the expectations and everyone you try to reset, you're pushed back on and is said, no, that has to be done today. And you have 10 or more supervisors to assist with everything. Yeah, that's a real pickle. That's a real pickle. And you may need to go to your own manager about that, right? Which is, listen, I'm actually going to get to 8 of these 10 and 2 are truthfully not going to get done. And there will be an impact, right? There'll be some kind of consequence, except there's going to be less of a consequence than if you just let the 2 projects fall. And then the next day say, oops, those 2 didn't get done. And here's my good excuse why. That is a good pickle. Yep, I love this. I love these. I feel responsible even when it was not my doing, and I over apologize. Oh, so good. Thanks for saying that, because I know a lot of people do that and can hear themselves in that. You guys, for the most part, really can give up apologizing. And it doesn't mean you're not compassionate, but you don't have to be so sorry for everything. No, just this is how this is going to go. Please let me know if you have concerns with that. And we'll let you know, oh gosh, that one thing's not going to get done till next Monday. Okay, that's going to be a real issue. All right, well then we'll work it out together. You and me together, we're going to work out how this is going to get done. But yeah, that's a great thing to start practicing wherever the shoe fits. Those of you who over apologize, you might want to take on pulling that back. Oh, I love this. I hold myself to my original deadlines, which puts more stress on me. So I need to get better at resetting expectations. Yeah. You guys are rock stars. That's the good news, but it's also the real challenge because you guys do expect a ton of yourselves, and then the world expects a ton of you. Sheesh. You got to be good to yourself, right? You got to make sure you're getting rejuvenated somewhere in there, and you may need to reset expectations. Yeah, it is, I don't think anybody's ever died from resetting expectations, okay? This is not a deathly thing, and it does take courage. But the more you do it, the stronger you'll get at it, and the bigger your muscle will be, and the more comfortable you'll get with saying, you know, rocks are hard, water's wet, this is going to get done on Monday. Not, and I'm so sorry about that. No, there's nothing to be sorry about. But if you and you will train your boss, if you start operating this way, they will get used to you coming to them and resetting expectations and become appreciative of that. Yeah. I'm just going to keep reading a few more of your comments. I just love them. I so appreciate your guys' comments. When the number of requests have overwhelmed my management system and I've dropped the ball completely. Yep. Yep. So you every now and then, you guys got to recalibrate your own systems, right? My own management system has been overwhelmed. I so appreciate you saying that. But again, if you go talk to your boss about that and say, listen, I am going to now rewire my management system because I can see it's insufficient for the challenges we have here. I'm up for the challenge. I'm going to go get my structures fortified so that they can deal with what we're dealing with here. And I'm going to have that rectified by X date. So if you do find yourself having caused a big mess and like, oh, I dropped too many balls, right? You want to figure out how you're going to solve that. And again, you can reset the expectations by going back to your boss and saying, I really let way too many balls drop there. Here's what I'm doing to fix it. Here's what you can now count on. And that's going to be rectified by next Wednesday. That's you now captaining your ship, owning the whole thing. Okay. I love this one. When I'll disappoint my exec and even more so myself. Yes, because I didn't meet the expectations. I know you guys are tough on yourselves. I know I've met your kind before. I am your kind. We're rough on ourselves. Yeah. That's the thing, is that when you get out there and talk to your boss and reset the expectations, then you can breathe. Yes, you're disappointed. Maybe they'll be disappointed. Nobody ever died from disappointment. Okay. You're going to be disappointed. If you're interested in being a rock star in life, you're going to fail sometimes and you're going to win 90% of the time. And you're going to get all twisted up about the 10% of the time that you failed. Okay. Well, booga booga, right? Like my friend Tiffany said to me, get over yourself. Okay. Brush yourself off and get back to being a rock star, because that's why you're in the position that you're in. It's not because you're perfect every single day with every single item. And I don't want you to be disappointed in yourself, except it's partly why you're so great, because you do have high standards for yourself. Okay. So keep having those high standards and don't beat yourself up. Okay. We don't have time for EAs beating themselves up. You're already in a hard enough situation. Oh, I appreciate this one. It's hard to get something done when no one is on the same page. Whoo, yeah, that's a big part of our job. And you're the monkey in the middle. Like, that's such a great visual. We should come up with a slide for that. The monkey in the middle. That's got a meme just waiting for it, doesn't it? Hard to get a situation resolved. Yep, it's true. I don't think you're really a monkey, but you are in the middle. And that is a big part of many people's job descriptions, is constantly pulling people onto the same page. And as soon as you get 3 people on the same page, now you got 2 more not on the same page. Yep. And I don't know what to tell you about it other than that's why have an EA, right? I sell EA services to clients, and that's a huge part of it. Why do you have an EA? Because somebody is going to work to keep everybody on the same page. And that's a huge value. So maybe if you can see that as a great value that you bring versus a frustration or a problem, it is a huge value that EAs bring, is that we executives know 5 people are not on the same page and you're out there working to get us on the same page. It's a big value that you bring. And then somebody said taking things on without delegating. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I'm a big fan of delegating. And I don't know what that is, but thanks for sharing it, because I'm sure that somebody else can relate to that. Oh, guys, I so appreciate that. All right. Well, those are the two main tricky bits that I thought I would give you, which is resetting expectations and then bringing certainty to where there isn't certainty. So I'm going to open it up to some Q&A here, and you can put in your questions and any what I'd like to call, yeah, but, how about, what if, and I'm also curious, do you agree that these are two of the harder aspects of being a high performing EA? Setting expectations and bringing certainty. Now, I know you have 50 other things that are also very hard, so I'm not looking for a big list of all the hardest things. But I'm just curious if you agree with me that these two are what you'd consider two of the tricky skills of really being a high performing, high caliber EA. And then we can just open it up to Q&A on these topics. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. And then the other thing you could drop in the comments are any insights that you've had so far today. If we're not going to end the workshop right this second, but obviously we'll end shortly. What are you taking away from this workshop? What is one nugget that you could use and apply today or tomorrow or next week? So go ahead and drop into the comments any questions that you have, anything you might want a little bit of coaching on, or what are you taking away from this workshop? What's a little nugget that you can use to apply today, tomorrow, or next week? Or it might be something you see there is to take on, like, oh, I really want to actually go build a muscle in this particular area. I want to go and become more confident. I'm going to start practicing something knowing that I will get stronger at it. What are those areas? So let me give you a minute to drop some things into the comments there. Great. Setting expectations portion really helped. Yeah, I think setting expectations is just one of those challenges with no top. I'll tell you, even the biggest rock stars on my team that have been on my team from the beginning, it's still challenging. It's still, I'd say at probably half, if not more than half of any client issue we ever run into is because there was an unmet expectation. Right. And we're in the virtual world. So sometimes people think we're on call, 24 hours a day. That's one of the things we have to level set early on. Okay, when is this virtual EA available? When are they not? They're not just sitting there watching their phone all day long. In our particular business. Now that's unique. Yeah, great. I'm glad that somebody's taking away that nugget of, I don't know the answer, but I will by 4 o'clock today, or I'll know by 9 a.m. tomorrow, or I'm going to go do some research and I'll update you again by 5 p.m. Yeah, and somebody taking away not covering for others and making them accountable. Yeah, you can simply state the facts of a situation. The facts are the facts. People, where I come from, is the people are great. Their performance may be in question. Okay. So I often am talking about people's performance. And it's not personal to them. It doesn't mean they're a horrible person, but really they said they would do X by Thursday and it's now Friday and it's not in. So what's up? But who I am about it is what's up? Not like, what's up? You're ruining my life, right? Which I know is hard, especially when you've been working with people for a long time. But I will tell you, if you are the voice who's always saying what got completed on time and what didn't get completed on time, pretty soon people will stop messing with doing what they said they would do on time with you because they know you're always going to point it out. You're going to keep liking them as a human being and you're going to point out their lack of performance. After a while, people don't want to be that person around you. Yeah, I appreciate you saying for think outside the box. How would you want a project done if you farmed it out? Yeah, really great. Mm. Thanks everybody for what you've put in there in the comments section. I think it's starting to get quiet in the comments, so we don't need to prolong it. Um, Ooh, something else. What if your fellow EAs don't have the same high performance? You see the same mistakes, misses all the time, despite trying to guide them to a better way. How do you keep your sanity or help them improve without sounding like a know-it-all? Oh, that's such a good question. Let's talk for another hour about that. No, we can't, but that's a great, great question. Um, yeah, you just keep going. You just don't stop. I hate to say that. I know there should be like some great trick, but you keep being the voice for what works. Keep liking the human being, being compassionate and caring for the human being, and keep not tolerating what doesn't work or not tolerating what I call a lack of performance. I don't step over performance issues, but I keep making sure the human being I'm interacting with knows I'm not after them. I'm after their performance getting better. Now, something that's prolonged that goes on for a long time, you've got to escalate. I don't know if you're the boss or they have another boss or you need to talk to their boss or something, but I will coach and coach and coach and coach. But then there's a point at which, okay, I've now coached you on this matter for 3 months. Are you going to take this on or not? Because this may not be the job for you. Now, you may not be the person to have that conversation, right? That may need to get escalated to somebody else. But again, you don't have to be afraid to escalate if it's not personal for you. If you're not wrapped around the axle about, I'm throwing them under the bus. There's no bus. You're not throwing them under the bus. You have a person. They have a job description. They're not fulfilling it. Okay, I don't want to work in that environment very long. So it's a dance between keep being the razor's edge about what works and what doesn't work without killing off the person. Okay? Now we're starting to get into all kinds of other areas, but it's great, and you guys are in those very tricky situations. But if you've been seeing the same mistakes and the same misses and they've been getting all the same coaching for months and months, there is now a point at which you got to just do something that is really either gonna I have a not nice phrase to say. I can't say that phrase here, but you just got to get it resolved, right? All right, you guys. Well, it has been great to be with you. It's just been a total treat to be at this whole summit. Thank you very much, everybody, for your interacting with me on the chat. I very much appreciate it. I'm used to leading very interactive workshops, so this was a different cut for me on how to do a presentation. You guys made it awesome. I hope it was really valuable for you. And I think that completes it. Liz or Jason, anything for you?
Nope, you are good. Thank you so much, Gina. That was wonderful.
Great. Thanks, everybody.